I've been asked in the last week by voters, Mark, what would you do about housing? It's a very good question, and it's one of the few that right now I have to say I don't know. Now, let me tell you why. It is a mystery why in urban areas there are so many buildings that are blighted and not being used. I can only guess that it's because of a tax incentive for keeping it unused compared to doing what we always do. Build it, sell it to somebody who will do better with it. Don't leave things vacant. And in suburban areas, that almost never happens. In rural areas, it happens a little bit, but the taxes are so low in most rural areas that there's logic to it. In Hartford, where the tax rate is so high, I just don't understand why anyone who is a property owner isn't doing something with it. So I literally do not understand. I do expect, therefore, that with understanding, there can be smarter legislation. Now, it might not be state legislation. This might be a Hartford-only thing. Now, here's where I do know something about housing. I do have a plan, but it's beyond me as a state legislator. So, sorry if this is doubly inadequate, but in a town-by-town referendum, town councils or possibly zoning boards can allow for something that I've been asking for a decade. Extra structures on property. Property that right now is zoned for just one unit, but there's plenty of room for another. So having a second unit, maybe it's connected, maybe it's not. And letting zoning permit these allows neighborhoods to, yes, get a little bit denser, but allow the cost to drop. There's no extra cost for land. So let's say you're in Simsbury with a full acre lot. You have a 3,000 square foot home, and you want to add another 1,800 square foot adjunct. Fine, you're not crowding the neighborhood. You very likely aren't adding to the traffic greatly. It's probably a one-person extra home, not a whole family. But even if it is, you're getting a family who otherwise could not afford to live there. Maybe that family member is a relative. In the COVID era, that's become kind of acute, that having grandma nearby would be really nice, but not in our house. So a few steps away, where you can take care of grandma, resides grandma, inexpensively close to the daughter and in-law that love her and can take care of her. This is overdue. It was overdue even before COVID, and now totally worth doing, town by town by town. Now, here's why towns tend to object. Because they think that low-cost housing brings with it classless people. I don't. This is a misconception. They're classy people that haven't built a big bank account yet. They can't put down a huge mortgage. Maybe they can't qualify for a loan. Interest rates have gone up of late. So this has nothing to do with the type of people that are in your neighborhood. And for the neighbors who are rightly concerned about how the neighborhood will stand up, that's where not housing prices make the difference, but where codes of behavior, zoning laws that keep noise restrictions, litter that really gets picked up after, maybe community gardens that everyone is meant to take a share of keeping up. These things, I think, make a wholesome community no matter what the income of the residents. Finally, there's an absolutely must place for second homes on a parcel. And that is in eastern Connecticut, where there are homes that have crumbled or are in the process because of the pyrrhotite that has infected the cement. So rather than a family that's imperiled living in their house, let them build a second house. They could rent the first house until it really goes and still have a home without moving. This is a restriction that should be lifted in every town that's had the effect of pyrrhotite on its homes.